time to glue your ass to the easy chair.
Wait a minute, you're already there.
This is the Nick and Artie Show.
Call 1-800-546-7663.
Now, Nick DiPaolo and Artie Lang.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
That's right. It's an eruption of radio coming at you.
Little Eddie Van Halen coming at you.
Oh, is that who that was? I thought it was the Monkees. Thanks for clearing that up. How you doing, folks? The Nick and Artie Show. I'm Nick DiPaolo. That's Artie Lang, 3 feet to my right, the living legend. How are you?
I'm doing good right now because the Yankees are winning 3-1. I was a little worried. Yeah. I've been watching the game. A.J. Burnett, who in the paper today referred to himself in the third person and said he's going to let A.J. loose. And I don't know if that's been such a good idea all year, but he had a rough first inning. He looked wild, and the bases are loaded, 2 outs. Yeah. Guy hits a bullet, an absolute, as John Silling would say, an absolute bullet to center field, and
the Grandy Man.
Yeah, and as Sterling would, every time Sterling says, the Grandy Man, I want to punch something, like the nearest thing next to me as hard as I can.
Which is usually a pizza box.
Yeah, right. I want to punch the cannoli that's in my left hand with my right hand. But the Grandy Man can. But I think Granderson just could have saved the game for the Yankees because he made a catch that was unbelievable. And
what did I say about A.J. after that play?
Yeah, that he would settle down.
And he did. And
well,
what's going to – no, he hasn't.
It's the fourth inning. They're up 3-1.
That's right.
Settling down is, a little much. Martinez homered off him.
Yes.
Which was another bullet into the right field stand.
So that's a former Red Sox.
Right.
And another former Red Sox, Beltre, hit 3 solo dingers today.
Wow.
And we couldn't use those fellas.
Yeah, the Texas Rangers closed it out today, so they're going to be they're going to be around again for
they are.
ALCS. That'll be interesting.
What do you think this Yankees would match up against Texas? I know you're biased, obviously, because you're from New Jersey, but what do you think?
I would rather face
them than Detroit.
I would rather face Tampa Bay in the ALCS. I really would, to tell you the truth. But what are you going to do? We got to get by Detroit first. And Burnett, again, it's only the fourth inning, and I don't know.
Well, the other story is the Detroit's pitcher is Rick Porcello.
Yeah, he's
a 22-year-old kid,
right?
Jersey boy, grew up a Mets fan.
Yeah.
But he's not exactly Nolan Ryan. He's given up, 210 hits in 180 innings.
Yeah.
Opposing hitters at 292 average against him. He's got a 4.50 ERA. So I thought the Yankees, with a Hall of Famer at every slot in the batting lineup would knock this guy out in the second inning.
Well, he's somehow like every other person on the planet has gotten A-Rod out twice tonight. A-Rod at this point, it's getting a little.
Yeah, but why do
he's 0 for 12. It's just getting. I mean, I don't want. Look, he's the greatest player of all time, but he's got to start doing something.
Okay, but why do you go to him when Swisher hasn't done anything? Teixeira has been an absolute disaster, and the player and Jeter got his first,
Jeter
second hit of the series.
Jeter got a big 2-run.
I know, but up to this point, everybody goes after A-Rod. Why? Because he's good looking. He gets laid a lot. What's seriously? What's is this?
Quite frankly, yes. And what's Jeter, an ugly guy who sits home every night watching Biography?
No, but nobody gets on him when he goes off. Biography. He just built a 40,000 square foot house in Tampa.
Yeah.
This is what I love about Jeter. 48,000 square foot house in Tampa. Makes $25 million a year. But according to the commercial, the car he chooses to drive is a Ford Edge.
Yeah.
Well, is that how you get supermodel broads with 4 cylinders and roll up windows? Is that right? And a A&M radio?
Yeah, Derek Jeter drives the same car the guy who roofed my house does.
His maid.
Yeah,
his maid drives a Ford Edge.
But what's annoying about the announcers, because he's A-Rod, they have to find something positive to say about him. So he made a play where he had to go to his left a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think it was Ron Darling. He goes, I'll tell you what, A-Rod has been very nimble at third base this entire series. Nimble. He's a professional athlete. I mean, isn't that a requirement to be an athlete, being nimble?
Yeah, but he is the lightning rod. He transcends the sport. Everybody else, Swisher's numbers. I was reading the paper. He's got like almost the lowest batting average in the playoffs in the history of the Yankee organization, and Teixeira's not far behind him.
Right,
and none of them are doing anything. And they go after A-Rod's hurt, man.
No,
he's banged up.
I know he's banged up a little bit, but
I'm defending a supermodel.
And I'm sure when he was laying by the pool recovering, and the Yankees were in a monsoon in Kansas City trying to win. He was feeling bad for the team, but I don't get on him. He's batting fourth. I just want him to do something. It's like he's not relevant anymore. You just go to like.
But he might tonight. Okay. He might.
All right.
My point is nobody was getting on. Teixeira or these guys, and they had done nothing up to this point.
I'm on Teixeira, and I refuse to pronounce it properly. It's Teixeira as far as I'm concerned. And, it's like Sade. I refuse to say her name's Sade.
Oh, boy. What are we dipping into the early 80s for that? 800-546-7663. I don't know. Apparently we're streaming tonight. Last night you guys were picking up like Al-Qaeda, I heard.
Yeah.
People that try to listen to the streaming show picking up Al-Qaeda and like Howard 101 and bits of a volleyball game in East Europe. What the hell was going on there? I go home and I'm being brutalized on my Facebook page.
Well, listen.
I mean, had something to do with
it. Technically, there's going to be some glitches, but I think we've worked them out tonight, and the Yankees are winning. That's the most important thing.
Well, to you it is. I got my toes crossed, my fingers.
You're still.
I'm as bitter as the day is long.
You're still bitter about the Red Sox.
Oh, absolutely. I haven't.
God, it really. To me, I as a Yankee fan, I would like to see a playoff game from Fenway Park. I would, and you guys didn't make it, and it's just a shame.
Look at the grin on his face. Unbelievable! Like you just finished a cannoli.
I would love to see David Ortiz or whatever the hell his name is, the guy who looks like a villain in a James Bond movie from 1973. Looks like
the 7-Up guy.
He looks like
Yaphet
Kotto.
Guy. Yes.
Yaphet Kotto. He looks like one of those guys who like has Sean Connery over an alligator cage, ready to kill him.
Let's we don't want to make this totally New York Boston. Apparently, this is going out to 2.5 other markets. So,
yeah, why make it New York Boston? Boston's not in it.
Oh, I'm talking about the conversation there, funny man. We got to update him on the other games. Milwaukee, Arizona. Oh boy, that tradition-filled matchup, huh? Give me a break, will you, please? Who's got more body fat? Is it CeCe Sabathia or Fielder's kid? What's he live on? Heavy cream and donuts?
Let me tell you something. I hope there's a whole generation of enormously fat Fielder kids coming down the line who just hit long home runs. I hope Prince is having sex with someone right now. I hope he's having sex with an enormous woman, and they create an enormous
Admit it, you
kid.
wanted to say what?
No. I want him to have sex with an enormous woman and create another enormous guy who hits home runs, because baseball is one of those only sports where you can be that out of shape and be that great.
That's true. When I was a kid, my favorite player was Mickey Lolich from the Tigers.
Yeah.
When he went from the stretch, it's
right.
like a profile shot for a model.
Yeah.
It looked like he was 8 months pregnant. You could see the kid's foot sticking out of his pants.
Well, how about the guy Valverde now for the Tigers?
Yes. What's he?
He's got a beer gut. He's got a big. He looks like he's one of those. He should be in that Deion Sanders commercial where Deion Sanders is Tinkerbell, and he should be sitting on the couch.
He was day to day in August because his water broke. Did you hear that? His water broke. Wake up out there.
Valverde, I love. Well, remember Gaylord Perry? Remember the shape he was in?
Oh yes, but he threw that knuckler. He could have.
That's another great thing about baseball. Yeah, like Tim Wakefield is what, 67 years old, and he's got the knuckleball.
Yeah, he's got a little gut too. Actually, he's about 2 months pregnant. Wakefield.
But I love Prince Fielder, and I just hope he's creating another enormous Fielder kid to come down the line. I want like 5 of them in a row.
Why? Well, I guess we know how you voted. 800-546-7663.
First of
I don't
all,
even know what that meant. Come on, I got 4 cups of coffee in me.
First of all, Nick, I don't vote. I'm a convicted felon. So let's just stop the argument right there.
That's not even a joke, folks.
It's not a joke, but it's kind of funny and
hey,
true.
Let's go to Ed in Westchester, who wants to break up this comedy to ask why Jeter's leading off.
To ask why Jeter's leading off?
Yeah, go ahead, Ed.
Hey, man, what you guys doing? So glad to be hearing you on the radio, man. I saw you guys both in Tarrytown. It was awesome.
Well, thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
At a CVS.
Listen, why are you leading Jeter off when you have Gardner there? Every other team in the playoffs has a guy with 30-plus home runs, but they won't let Jeter out of this role. I mean, I don't understand it. Go ahead.
Oh, he's drunk.
You know what? I think, Joe Girardi, I think, is a Jeter guy, and I guarantee something happened behind. I agree with you. I think it should be Gardner, but I think something happened behind the scenes where Jeter might have talked to Girardi and said, listen, I feel more comfortable leading off, and I think that's my role, and it's when I'm at my best, and I think something like that happened, and I think Girardi might have caved and let him. I agree that it should be Gardner leading off, but Jeter's the captain, and I think they're showing him some respect by letting him lead off. But you got a point.
Apparently, he's a real team guy, the captain, huh? Forcing the manager's hand. What Joe Girardi said.
Well, listen, what I just said is my hypothesis. Is that the?
I think you're right on. Yes.
Is that the right term?
Yes.
Hypothesis.
Yes.
So I don't know that happened for sure, but I think Jeter wants to lead off, so they're letting him lead off.
Well, you're a Yankees fan. I'm not going to argue with you. You know the team better than I do. But again, Jeter drives a Ford Edge, so he can do whatever he wants. That was a rip-roaring segment right out of the gate. Hey, folks, stay with us. It's Nick and Artie. We're going to talk to a fella who, Matt Liston. He's a producer of a 30-30 ESPN film called Catching Hell. It's about Steve Bartman.
And Bill Buckner.
And Bill Buckner. And I heard it's terrific. He's coming up next on the Nick and Artie Show.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight.
Why'd you cut it off like that? Jesus.
Nick, it's good they cut it off. As a Red Sox fan, you should have seen your natural reaction to that. It looked like someone just removed a kidney from you.
Unbelievable. I mean, what is this tonight? I come in when you were talking about what happened in September this year. Now we're playing this.
Yeah.
Could have stayed home and hit myself in the nuts with a pair of nunchucks and had more fun. Can you say that? That's like people ask, do you remember where you were that night? Artie, where were you when Buckner?
I was at a bachelor party. I was 19 years old. I was at a bachelor party. I had bet on the Red Sox. And there were 30 guys around a little TV watching television. There were 3 strippers there who looked like Rue McClanahan from the Golden Girls.
Ain't that bad.
They were just, but like really like these ugly strippers, like trying to get our attention. And one of them wanted one of us to tie her down to a table. And she asked my friend's uncle if he had any rope or bungee cord. I'll never forget that.
Really?
She said, do you have any rope or bungee cord? Like we were literally pushing them out of the way to watch the game. And that's where we watched it when the ball got by Buckner.
I know where I was. I'll never forget. I was on the grassy knoll in Dallas, and I had a Red.
I heard that. Where were you?
I was in Faneuil Hall.
Yeah.
At a bar, PJ, whatever. Fill in an Irish name, O'Rourke's, whatever. But I had a girl sitting on my lap who looked like a young Jane Fonda.
Right.
Stunning. And I literally pushed her off my lap. Remember spilling the beer right on the bar, knocking her. She goes, where you going? I'm like, none of your business. I storm out of the bar with about 1,800 other Irish guys with blonde eyebrows, just angry, walking around Faneuil Hall, knocking over pretzel carts and just.
That must have been mayhem. And I heard the Buckner ball is up for auction now. Like you could buy it.
Yeah, and you know who had it a couple years ago?
Charlie Sheen had it.
$92,000 he paid for that.
Do you know what that means? Do you know what Charlie Sheen probably made a bunch of whores do with that ball?
Well, the guy that bought it, he said he wanted like 50% off. There was dry blood on it.
I mean, but Charlie Sheen probably made like hookers dress up like Bill Buckner and just roll it through their legs.
What do you do? I wonder what he did with that $92,000. Bet I don't think he headed to Whole Foods.
What? I think Buckner should buy the ball so he could finally get a chance to touch it.
Well, I know. Put it in a blender with some margarita mix. Hey, but it was it's one of those things, and something similar was the Steve Bartman situation.
Right. We got to explain a little bit again who Steve Bartman is.
What year was it?
2003, I believe.
Was it? I was in Tarrytown.
Playoffs. And a Cub fan
reached out on a foul ball. And became a scapegoat because he messed up the play. The guy couldn't make the catch, and beers were thrown at him. He had to go into like witness protection for a little while. Yeah. And this guy did a 30-30 thing, which are amazing, by the way. Let's welcome him to the show right now. His name is Matt Liston. He's the producer. Matt, welcome to the show. Matt?
Yeah.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
Very good. Our pleasure. It's called Catching Hell, and you actually interview Bill Buckner in this thing, right? And you kind of draw a comparison to the Bartman situation. Is that what it's about, basically?
Yeah, it's about scapegoating, basically using these two instances in baseball history. Obviously, one with the '86 Red Sox, and the other with the 2003 Chicago Cubs. What's quite interesting is, Bill Buckner, here he is a player who makes an error, but then in 2003, it's actually a fan who interferes with the play. So,
right.
It's
now it's true.
They both, though, have, as a result, have had to live. It's a living hell for them.
Yeah, I mean, Buckner moved out of Boston,
right?
Yeah,
I never remember the night it was. I threw a summer squash through his window.
Yeah, you were one of the reasons he left.
But let me ask you that you talked to Buckner, and he actually he hadn't watched the replay. Is that correct? So recently of the play, which is not really surprising.
All these years, he said every time it would come on, he would turn it off. And then just recently, he decided to watch it, and he actually noticed something that he had never noticed before, which was, for years he had thought, how could it? He couldn't answer the question, how could he not get that ball? And he said he liked to play with like a very loose first base glove. And he said what he noticed when he watched it all these years later was the glove kind of folds up. And so because of the way he had it loose, so when it hit the ground, it kind of folded up, and therefore the ball went right by it.
He should sue Wilson.
Oh, come on. That's the lamest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I'm not surprised he didn't watch the thing. Like Jackie O, I don't think she, watches Zapruder films for a few weeks either.
Yeah, well, I could relate to not wanting to watch. I could relate to not wanting to watch something embarrassing. I haven't seen one of my movies. But
what are you talking about? Beer League? You watched it like a week ago, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. No, but you make some excellent points that Nick and I both agree with here. That people forget that when the Buckner thing happened, the game was already tied, and a true go to the game could have been the pitcher Bob Stanley, who threw a wild pitch to make it to tie the game up.
That's right. I mean, we make the point in the film. I mean, Bob Stanley really, I think there's your man to blame. If there's any single person to blame, it would be Bob Stanley. And Bob Stanley, let me just say this. We show this in the film, too. He's very eager to not come to Bill Buckner's defense. He pretty much lets him be thrown under the bus.
Yeah.
You know who I blame, Matt?
Yeah.
I have a little. First of all, I'm so glad that you pointed that out, the wild pitch, because I've been saying it since it happened. Why is everybody blaming Buckner? That play should have never happened. I blamed Rich Gebb. That was a questionable wild pitch. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember going by his right ear. It was. I called it a pass ball, but I was watching Gedman the whole year, and he's like a guy that just smoked weed. He was always, his reflexes were horrendous.
I think it. Well, now I know why you think it was a pass ball.
Why is that?
Because you were distracted by a young Jane Fonda on your knee.
Did I say James Wanham and Hendry?
Yeah, no. I mean, come on, Matt, that was clearly a wild pitch, right? I mean,
clearly.
I believe it was a wild pitch, and if you talk to like these diehard Red Sox fans, Bob Stanley's not the man you wanted coming in that situation anyway.
No.
Yeah, no, we hated him back then.
And the other thing people forget is there was a Game 7. People think that ended the World Series. There was a Game 7, and the Red Sox were up 3-0.
3-0.
Yeah, and then they blew that, and Buckner had nothing to do with it.
When that game ends, too, when Game 7 ends, Bill Buckner is standing on the on-deck circle. He's that close to trying to redeem himself.
Oh, God. That could have worked out two different ways.
One of my favorite old jokes that Yankee fans would tell after that was that after that happened, Buckner threw himself in front of a bus, and it went through his legs.
Yes. That's an oldie but goodie.
Yeah, that's an oldie but a goodie. But now Steve Bartman is another guy who he's a scapegoat, but a lot of other things happened in that game that caused the Cubs to lose. Correct?
Yeah, for sure. The Steve Bartman game, it's really interesting. I was actually, and part of my footage is within this film, I was sitting as a fan and filmmaker in the left field bleachers, not too far from where the play happens. What's interesting, a lot of people forget, the Cubs were up 3-0 when this happens, and all it is a foul ball that a Cubs player, Moises Alou, who, he admits himself, was never very good at making a catch over a wall anyway. He actually said he's quite poor at it. He almost made an incredible catch, but, the stand sticks his hand out, and then, there it goes. It's still a foul ball. But when this happens...
Matt, I got to cut you off. We want to keep you on for the next time. Can you stick around?
You got it.
We're talking to Matt. We're up against a hard break. Matt Listrey's the producer of the 30-30 special.
Yeah, I want to ask him more.
Hell.
I want to ask him more about the Steve Bartman stuff.
So stay with us. It's the Nick and Artie Show.
And Artie, the show that has more testes than a fight between Rosie O'Donnell and Chaz Bono.
That's what I call a rejoinder. What the hell's going on out here? I love it. It's in the machine. I don't know what you call that. The Nick and Artie Show. Welcome back, folks. 800-546-7663. Currently talking to Matt Liston, who produced this thing for ESPN Films, the 30-30 series, which is great. It's called Catching Hell. And it's about Steve Bartman, the fan for the Cubs, who
reached over and ruined the play in 2003, and Bill Buckner being a scapegoat. Now, I wanted to ask you, Matt, a little more about Steve Bartman's life, like, directly after this. Because, listen, I know how hard Chicago fans can be. I did stand-up in Chicago once at a club, and I said Mike Singletary looked weird. And literally, that's all I said. I said, in one of my jokes, I said Mike Singletary looked weird, who used to play middle linebacker for the Bears. People followed me back to my hotel, wanting to beat me with lead pipes outside the Hampton Inn. What, Steve Bartman, what happened directly? Did he go into hiding? Like, that was the rumor. Like, he had to almost go into the witness protection program.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, this all right after the play, security escorted him, out of the escorted him to their offices inside the ballpark. They were so worried about his safety at that moment that they waited till the ballpark cleared out before they were going to attempt to let him go home. So what they did is they actually put him in a security, Wrigley Field security outfit, and walked him out. They're going to grab him a cab, and then somebody yelled,
"You gotta be kidding!"
And they had to bring him back, and then they actually snuck him to a security person's home who lived right down the street from Wrigley Field until the coast was clear. So immediately after he went into, he went right into hiding right after the ball game. Then after that, he lived with his parents at the time, and in the north suburbs of Chicago, and he did hide out there. But what happened was, between the press and everybody else, there was literally a Japanese crew outside their home for almost 2 weeks. But
that's fun.
They had police cars around the clock patrolling the neighborhood.
Okay. And we make fun of Afghanistan. Taliban might have a point, honest to God.
Well, this is our religion, sports.
Exactly.
I mean,
right.
it's unbelievable. Now he actually continues to live in the north suburbs of Chicago, and in fact, still works for the same company.
What company? Well, we can't give out the company he worked for. I guess
he dresses up like Mrs. Fields.
The other thing
at the mall shucking cookies.
The other thing I wanted to know was the fact that the other weird thing about it is he's wearing headsets. He's wearing like a Walkman or something
at the game that night.
At the game, like what was he listening to? Was he listening?
Classical rock?
We can only guess that he was listening to the ball game. But as we make the point in the film, I think one of the reasons why the fans turned on him so quick and he became an easy scapegoat, he wasn't this big brooding guy who gave it back to the fans. He sat there very meek, didn't pay attention to what was going on around him. Even after, when fans are throwing things, he just sits there. He stares
That's
forward.
A great
he
point.
Has the headphones on. And it's easy to pick on a guy like that. If it was a Chicago firefighter sitting there and he stands up and says, "Hey, what are you guys? Come on, bring it here." Something like that. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
It was Madeleine Albright.
So, and I think his appearance had a lot to do with how he was treated that night and after.
Yeah, if that's Brian Urlacher catching that, is he going to get any guff from anybody? They're going to go, "Don't worry about it. We'll win the series next year."
What I want to know is, how does a nerdy kid who lives with his parents and dresses in a windbreaker get front row seats at Wrigley Field? How the hell did that happen?
How about him leaving for the game?
We didn't cover that part.
Yeah.
He leaves for the game.
He certainly had some nice seats over there.
How about, though, he leaves for the game dressed normally, comes home dressed like a security guard.
And then somebody spotted him. Matt said someone said, "Hey, there he is." And the poor security guy.
Yeah,
did he have a gun?
That's the amazing thing. Even after, he's not wearing the green turtleneck and the goofy, blue sweatshirt with a Little League team on it and the Cubs hat and the glasses. He leaves part of that behind. Where's this Wrigley Field security jacket, and somebody still called him out. I mean, it was from being in the stands even that night. I'm telling you, it was something else because all of Wrigley Field, 40,000 fans, it went from Mardi Gras to funeral in a matter of minutes.
Wow.
Because right after that incident happens, I'll tell you one interesting thing about Wrigley Field. One really unique thing about it is it's the only ballpark without a jumbotron, and why that's important is because when that play happens, a lot of the folks in the ballpark, they don't know what happened. Like where I was sitting in the left field bleachers, I thought Alou just missed the foul ball, but Alou
they would have torn him apart.
Alou just jumps up and down after he doesn't make the catch, but you still don't know what's going on. Now, what happens, and we captured it on film at that time, since we're in the left field bleachers, you could look down, and outside Wrigley Field, there's literally thousands of fans standing outside Wrigley Field. They are all watching a single guy who has I kid you not, he has a little television on his head. He's literally, so all these people can watch the game. And we captured this on film. They start watching this replay, and when they start seeing the replay, they start booing and chanting a word I can't say right now on radio, but chanting a word, and that anger kind of spills in the ballpark. And now the people also under the concourses where there's televisions start seeing what's going on, and they get upset, and it kind of trickles out through the ballpark. But it takes a while because there is no jumbotron. And so it was like a pot boiling over. And then after that, there was an error by our shortstop, Alex Gonzalez at the time, the sub-shortstop, which should have been a double play. And that's a guy who, if you needed to blame somebody, there you go.
I remember that.
But then it all goes to hell in a handbasket. The wheels fall off. The Marlins score 8 runs, and now fans want blood, and they want it now. And you could. I've never felt Wrigley Field in all my years of going. I've never felt that type of animosity that I felt that night in the ballpark. And I'm telling you, it doesn't surprise me at all that somebody spotted him outside Wrigley Field and would go after him.
That's how mobs. That's how it happens.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can start a myth and just repeat it, and that's how stuff happen. Riots happen, and you know, I feel bad for his parents. He's going to work the next day. Why are you dressed like a Hasidic Jew?
Yeah, his poor parents. I mean, his parents are at home. You know, they're probably just this nice couple from Chicago, and they have a Japanese news crew outside their house, and security and cop cars protecting their son. It's just an unbelievable story. But you're right. Gonzalez is sort of like the Bob Stanley of the Buckner story. Like,
absolutely.
he's the guy.
The best thing to happen to Alex Gonzalez is Steve Bartman. Because if there's no Steve Bartman, all the heat and all that hatred is dead on his shoulders, without a doubt.
If you think about it, Bartman is a direct opposite of Jeffrey Meyer, the kid who leaned over and caught the Jeter non-home run.
Hey, Matt, thanks a lot. We appreciate you coming on the show. It's Matt Liston. He's the producer. It's called Catching Hell. It's part of ESPN Films.
And you can still catch it on ESPN2, and I believe ESPN Classic. They're going to be rerunning it, and soon on DVD.
There you go. We appreciate your time. Thanks. It's just it makes me sick to my stomach. You know.
I'm glad. Well, what did you feel? I mean, as a Boston fan, say the next morning you saw Bill Buckner walking down the street. What would you have done?
Thrown a cup of coffee in his face.
Oh, okay.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. You know what? I'd stay away. I wouldn't even know what to say. I'd pretend I didn't. You know, I mean, I'd stay away from him.
Right.
I'd leave him alone. I know he's not in a good mood, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You know? I really... Look, I love sports as much as anybody, but that's taking it to, like, Brazilian soccer level, where you kill the ref.
Right.
Come on. I thought we were above that. Maybe not.
Well,
anyways.
Clearly we're not, but that's a great subject to do one of those 30-30s on. You got to check that out.
That's right. Next up, we got Mark Kriegel from FoxSports.com. We're going to talk a little Major League Baseball and some maybe some NFL football. It's the Nick and Artie Show.
Back to two guys who know as much about sports as the cast of Friends. The Nick and Artie Show.
Welcome back to the Nick and Artie Show. I'm Nick DiPaolo. That's Artie Lang.
That's right.
And Rambo jacket.
Quick update. The Yanks winning 4-1 now.
Terrific.
So we may go back to that grotesque thing they call Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, but it's unfortunately where we have to play. And if that happens, I'm feeling all right. But A.J. Burnett seems to have settled down.
Just like I said, who's gonna pitch for the Yankees? When they go back,
who would they go with? They would.
I heard Reggie Cleveland. I don't know if that's true. And Sparky Lyle.
I think Ron Guidry is going to throw for the Yanks. I'm not sure.
CeCe.
Yeah, well,
he wants to pitch. He said in the paper.
Yeah, well,
but he's going to lay off the Fruit Loops. I mean,
didn't he say that? Didn't CeCe Sabathia say that he eats a box of Captain Crunch
for breakfast
every day?
That's what he blames his weight problem.
Like that's just something like Bjorn Borg probably never did as a tennis player. Only a baseball player could eat a box of Captain Crunch for breakfast.
Let's go to a guy that knows something about this, football and baseball, former writer of the New York Post, who lives in L.A. now. Mark Kriegel, welcome to the show.
What's up, fellas? Do you think you could eat a box of Captain Crunch sober?
Oh, I'm glad you finished that.
Is that possible?
Do I think I can eat a box of Captain Crunch?
I mean, like one, is it like a...
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've done it. Quite frankly,
Captain Crunch sober.
No, sober, no way.
Sober, I'm talking about sober, yeah.
Oh, sober. Now that's a whole new ball game.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You don't.
No one's ever.
Artie.
CeCe's the only one who ever did that.
I'm hoping CeCe was sober when he did it because that would be a big problem.
I think Valverde's more of a Count Dracula guy.
No, Valverde looks like he just eats Cheetos and drinks,
Cherry
Miller
Coke.
Lite.
No.
Hey, it's good to talk to you, Mark. I was a big reader of yours for a long time on the Post, man.
I was at the Daily News too for longer.
Yeah, there was a guy. I don't know if you ever knew this. A guy who used to call Mike and the Mad Dog a sports show in New York, and the first thing he would say was, "You read Kriegel?"
Oh,
That's the first thing he said.
Now
He definitely
now
wasn't
you're right.
sober.
Now you're right for
Can I just say one
FoxSports.com. Okay, whatever. I'm just trying to give you a plug. Talk over.
I'm glad you knocked the new Yankee Stadium, whatever it is, because it's like a Bennigan's.
It really is.
No,
man.
it's bad. It's unholy. I'm
Perfect.
serious about that, though. It's not right.
No, it's.
You don't like Bennigan's, Mark?
Well,
I don't know. Whatever. When I'm unsober, yeah, I don't like Bennigan's. I think it's a curse. No, I think that. I tell you what, though. Seriously, that's the thing that's wrong with this country. Is that all the bars, all the breakfast joints, all the everything. All is like a Bennigan's. It's the homogenization of the culture. And Yankee Stadium used to be different. Now, I grew up in the 70s, and it was different. It was in the Bronx. There was a sense of menace to it. And I went to that World Series a couple of years ago. It was the first time I had been to the new Yankee Stadium.
right.
I grew up in Manhattan on 8th Avenue. And it was like that thing. It was like Chicago. It was like that new Comiskey Park or whatever they call it now. Whatever.
Yeah, Comerica.
Whatever it is. No, Comerica's Detroit, right?
Yeah.
It was whatever. It just doesn't even matter. But it was.
Oh,
it
U.S.
was different.
Cellular.
It was like, this is New York. It would rattle. The subway would come. It would rattle. It was, hey, you're in the Bronx now. You should be scared. No, there's not that.
Why is
anymore.
that good? Why is that good?
No,
Why is that good?
I agree with him. I was a kid.
The food tastes the same.
Okay, so what's
What's
separate?
The drinks the same. It's no good. It's unholy.
So what separated you from other ballparks? You could get stabbed in the ass while you're walking to your car. That's a good thing.
Well, it's not. No, no. Plus,
I'm playing devil's advocate.
But it was different than every other place. It wasn't.
I can remember. Mark, I agree with you. I can remember being 10 years old.
I'm not. I mean, I am.
No, I
romanticizing.
know.
I'm sorry. You,
I know.
You busted
I agree.
Me, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't
I agree. We talked about it last night.
Yeah, I agree with you. The new Yankee Stadium to me is just an abomination. It's just it's they might as well call it Pepsi Field. I mean,
You don't like. You guys don't want to go to the yarn barn in between innings?
yeah,
Huh? 1 potato, 2 during the 7th inning stretch. Get a nice.
really, it's great. It's great to go to in between innings to go to Crate and Barrel and pick up.
Yeah, no, you're right.
There's
a Crate and Barrel, exactly right. Yeah, okay.
But I remember being 10 years old. You're right. There was a thing going into the South Bronx, going on to Jerome Avenue. There was such a danger about it in such a cool way. I can remember being 10 years old in the bleachers, 1977, and my father's friend asked me to hold his beer while he rolled a joint.
All right.
It's a good old days.
And, of course, the joint had, like, more seeds than pot, right?
Right.
He was rolling it for Mickey Rivers.
But here's the question, though. All those times you went out to the Bronx, to the stadium,
Right.
Did you ever have any trouble? One time. Did you? I mean, I don't know the answer, but did you ever?
Me and my friends got into a couple of fights at Stan's, the sports bar right there. But
now with, like, the Bronx, though. That was with, like, other Yankee fans. They're probably from, like, Jersey.
Yeah, that was with other Yankee fans. I know. You know what? I never had a problem. No neighborhood people ever bugged me at all.
Never bother you, right? Ever?
No, they didn't. No.
Okay.
I had a different experience.
Yeah, well, you're a Red Sox fan.
I have my Red Sox pajamas on.
You went there wearing a Jerry Remy shirt.
There you go. Okay.
Hey, Mark, real quick, give me the MVPs in the two leagues in your opinion this year, National League and American League MVPs.
You're killing me with this.
Sorry to hit you with a tough one.
We're up against a hard break. Quick.
Well, Jorge Posada for the last 4 days.
Hey, can you stick around for another segment?
No, the Rays starters, okay? That was the greatest thing ever. The Rays are the best-run organization in not just baseball, all of sports. Okay?
Yeah.
They lose
Right.
Crawford, they come back, they kick the Red Sox ass. Sorry.
Mark, can you stick around for another segment?
Absolutely, yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll be right back. It's the Nick and Artie Show. Stay with us.
And now, the radio program America has been waiting to hear. The radio program that answers the question, hey, what's the matter? The TV broken. It's Nick DiPaolo and Artie Lang. The Nick and Artie Show.
Artie, put down the guitar. Welcome back to the Nick and Artie Show, folks.
Yankees blowing it open.
Yes, they are, aren't they? Huh?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Let's hope they blow it, period, in 2 nights from now.
They might be coming back to Mark Kriegel's favorite stadium.
We're talking to Mark Kriegel, FoxSports.com, and his Twitter feed is at Mark Kriegel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, it's like, well,
It's a
I'm
big
guessing
thing
if
for
it
me.
was that Charlie Sheen, I'd be really surprised.
How many
I don't get it.
how many followers you got, Mark?
About
17.
12 people?
I love this guy.
I don't even got you.
I don't know how to get on Twitter. I got to learn. And if I do, I'm going to at Mark.
An hour ago. But you know, it was hard, but I did. It was traumatic.
Mark, be honest. Have you had a few cocktails tonight or what?
No, I'm good.
You good?
You know
All
what
right.
I did? I'll tell you what I did. I made my daughter dinner, and I'm
that's
still
nice.
suffering.
So the microwave's working.
No. I made
Pasta
ravioli. I made broccoli rabe, and she.
Oh, so he's Jewish.
I'm Jewish. Yeah.
You made
I got
broccoli
guilt,
rabe
man.
and ravioli.
God, I love
I
this
got
guy.
guilt.
With a meal like that, apparently. The
And you know, she had a little bite of the broccoli, and she went to the Ben and Jerry's. Come on, you know.
Mark, honestly, the way you sound, is your daughter still there? Because we might want to send over the authorities.
No, she's upstairs. She's going to be the next.
yeah, she's upstairs, tied to her radio, nice and quiet.
She's good. She's good.
Good.
She's got raviolis and broccoli rabe all over her shirt.
She's eating them off a plate on the floor.
She's got like some kind.
I love this guy.
She do flashcards.
What did you want to ask him about stadiums, Artie? You had a good question.
No, I just wanted. So what's your favorite stadium? You
I love
think
Yankee Stadium. I love Yankee Stadium. It was good. When that thing rocked, you remember when it would like shake, you get scared?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the Cyclone, it had a little bit of menace to it.
Yeah,
You know,
a lot of
it was-
menace actually.
You know, it was okay. It was okay.
But right now, what's your favorite stadium? Have you been to enough of them to think of one?
Right now, I like Qualcomm.
Qualcomm?
Yeah, Qualcomm.
Where's that? San Diego?
Yeah, Qualcomm.
Yeah.
I go to the Chargers game. I go to Qualcomm.
Yeah,
I
very
like how it
personal.
sounds.
Over there.
Qualcomm.
Yeah.
I like how you sound, Mark. Quite frankly,
You know,
They're going to rename the
you ever hear of a
Superdome,
girl
right?
at Qualcomm?
yeah, right by Yankee
Yeah, right
Stadium.
after I gave her a ravioli and broccoli rabe.
Hey.
Hey, your article this week is about the fact that there's too much
The article
passing.
today, I do a couple. I got to earn a living.
Yeah. There's too much passing in the NFL. You think they're
There's
abandoning?
not too much passing. There's not enough running. I mean, it's not. Look, it's not me. I'm helping these guys out. What's going to win? And I'm a schmuck.
That's true.
But
You're right, though. It's got to be balanced.
you know, I mean, somehow, and I don't know if it was from the Red Zone channel or the the actual NFL guys got corrupted by the ideas of the video game ethos.
Right.
But they started to think it was like a joystick game.
Mark, give me a chance. I have to look up ethos.
If you look at the numbers over the weekend, it bears it out. If you can't run, you're not going to win. You suck. You know, and look at the Jets took all of this nonsense, and I love Rex Ryan because he makes my life easier. Super Bowl this, Super Bowl that. You got Sean Green running for about 2.3 yards a game. You ain't going to Super Bowl. You're going to Pop Warner Bowl. I'm serious about that, though. You know what I'm saying?
Is my mic on? LaDainian Tomlinson peaked about 7 years ago. Does anybody else feel that way?
I could run.
I know. I agree with you.
You
Absolutely.
could run better than him.
I could. I played at Maine. I can prove it.
He catches a couple balls in the flat. They were better with Thomas Jones and Leon Washington. But the idea that Mark Sanchez sucks because of all this. I'm not saying that Mark Sanchez is without his limitations. But you don't give him any running game at all. Okay, he's going to suck. That's what he is.
I mean, you're right.
What happened to ground and pound? You're going to ground and pound your quarterback, Mark Sanchez.
800-546-7663. We're talking to Mark Kriegel, who writes for FoxSports.com, and can make a great broccoli rabe.
What about Cam Newton? You think he's a perfect example of the too much passing, not enough running?
What did he throw for? Like almost 400 yards.
Yeah, again.
46 times. The kid's a rookie. God bless him. He threw 46 times. He had no ground game.
Played with his cousin Fig in high school.
Right, but I mean, why are you going to put that burden on a rookie? Well, but this is something that happened in this generation of football.
You're right. They said there's been more passing yards in the first 4 games this year than like in the history of the NFL.
But for some,
that doesn't do him a service, and I don't think like his dad's getting paid for it either. You know, I'm serious about that.
You're right.
I know you're serious about it. Serious about a lot of things.
He threw for 300. You know, he threw for 374 yards. Okay,
right.
He's about an hour out of high school.
Yeah.
He threw 46 times. Is that helping the kid? If this is the future of your franchise and you got him dropping back to pass 46 times, you helping him out?
But Mark, can you name a running back for the Panthers? I can't. They got no running game, right? So he's forced to throw.
That's my point exactly. But wait a second, though. Like, did you see the Bears game? And everyone got that direct TV nonsense? They had the Mike Martz is like he's playing the game. The offensive coordinator, he's like playing the game with a joystick. We're all corrupted by this whole fantasy and video game nonsense.
He's right. I think he's right.
Well, let's say
and they told him, man, listen, we got this guy Max Forte. Let him run the goddamn ball. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say right, but let him run the ball. He ran for 205 yards. They won. It's not like a coincidence. Put away your playbook. It's not on AstroTurf. We're the Bears. This is what we
know. What?
This is what we're supposed to do. Good night. Thank you.
Mark, you make a good point because the Patriots out in Oakland this weekend actually ran the ball.
Yes, and they had 2 guys ran for about like 80 yards plus. And not only did they do that,
that's right.
They contained Darren McFadden. Now, I don't know this coach Hugh Jackson or whatever from Oakland.
Yeah.
Now he's predicting they're going to win this and that and the other thing. Not if someone contains Darren McFadden. Ain't going to happen.
It's great, though, because Oakland came out thinking that Tom Brady was going to drop back on every down,
right.
and they were running off tackle. And this kid Ridley is going to be a superstar, I'm telling you. They got him and the other guy, Jarvis Green.
Right, Mark,
I think,
now listen.
In fairness to Brady, Brady's so good he makes that possible. But, you know, you're right. But they didn't, you know, Belichick didn't draft a running back because he's an idiot. Yeah, he may not be a nice guy, but he's not an idiot.
Mark, now honestly, with the ravioli and broccoli rabe, what do you have with that? Like a nice Chianti? What do you go with?
I had a Chianti, yes. I had the Chianti from Trader Joe's. That's my
Mark Kriegel, thanks a lot. We appreciate You were great, man, and we hope we can do this again.
My pleasure. Take care.
Thank you. That's Mark Kriegel from FoxSports.com. I wanted to get him off before he fell down in the living room and banged his head, and we were liable somehow.
I mean, let me tell you something.
I love that guy.
Kriegel sounds like a fun guy to hang with.
We got to get him and that Leo Haggerty together. We'll go to Mons Venus in Tampa.
Absolutely.
He made his daughter a broccoli rabe and ravioli. You know how much love goes into that?
Yeah, that's
After drinking a pint of...
It's a lot of work. Although broccoli rabe with red gravy, I don't know what's going on.
That's right.
I mean, I think...
800-546-7663. It's Nick and Artie. Call in, and if you want to talk broccoli rabe or a 3-4 defense, we're all over the place tonight.
Or Mark Kriegel and the fact that he's alone with his daughter, and
I know.
And he just admitted to drinking a bottle of Chianti, I think. So.
I was so afraid he's going to. I got to take her up the street to Best Buy to get her a star. I was afraid he's going to get in the car, and he was really nervous. First of all, his daughter's 31. That's what's weird about it. That guy was great, and I hope we have him back on, even after the comments we're making now.
Kriegel is great.
But we're going to talk to Eric Pincus, but that's not for a couple segments. Right? We moved that one.
He's about the NBA lockout.
Yeah. Hoopsworld.com. He's going to explain to me and Artie why, not that I care, I can't stand the NBA, but he's going to tell us what's going on there. I'm guessing money's at the root of it all. It's Nick DiPaolo and Artie Lang. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to Nick and Artie, the radio show for guys who consider bowling a real sport.
Bowling for money. It's my only vice.
The Nick and Artie Show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Nick and Artie Show. 800-546-7663.
Streaming live at nickанdartie.com. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
And there's a Facebook page. Who doesn't have one? A little update on the baseball game. Yankees are blowing it wide open. I can't quite see the screen. That looks like double digits. What's it say, Artie? You're closer.
Let me see.
Is that a 10 or a 12?
It says 10-1.
10-1. I guess AJ settled down, didn't he?
Yeah, 10-1. But listen, you remember what happened in Tampa Bay when they were up 7-0. And then Longoria hit that home run, if you remember. So I can't get too.
Why are you bringing that up again?
I don't want. I don't want to get too comfortable.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't.
Well, what about and as you say, the big Diamondbacks Brewers legendary rivalry?
Yeah, that tradition goes back to April of 2010.
This game looks like.
It's
what's the score?
It's 3-1 Arizona.
3-1
it's
Arizona,
in the bottom of the fifth. They got 2 men on. Looks like 1 out. Justin Upton is up. So, and the Brewers are up, right? 2-0 in that one, if I have it correct. I believe so. And yeah. Not the score. I'm talking about the series.
Right. So it looks like the Yanks are going back to the Bronx, and
they're going to blow it. Jeter's going to let the ball go through his legs, and he's going to be tortured for the next 100 years. Right into the mouth of Babe Ruth.
He's going to move back in with his parents.
And dressed like a security guy.
I just feel bad for Steve Bartman's parents. To me, they're the biggest losers here of the whole story.
Let's take a call. I want to go to Russell in North Carolina. He's got.
Hey, y'all, man. Artie, God bless you. I bought your book for everybody in my family, but I had a funny little tidbit for you. You remember when y'all at your test show were talking about Brian's song?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a movie I've been meaning to see my whole life. I know my dad and my brothers were, it's the real tearjerker, and you guys were talking about it, and Nick was doing this hysterical impression, and Artie, you were doing this monologue from it. So after the show, I downloaded it, and I'm watching it, and I'm tearing up, but I'm also cracking up hearing Nick doing the. They won't let me.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Nah, yeah.
He's laying in bed.
The voice, Mr. Bigelow.
Brian Piccolo is very sick. He may not make it.
He day to day.
He day to day.
Day to day. I was going, it's 4th and long. They won't let me punt, Magic.
Yeah, well, that's I think it's hilarious that's a movie you were laughing.
I know. I got a weird dark. No, I still cry to this day. There was a whole article a couple weeks ago in the Post about movies that make men cry that they don't make. Brian's Song is still number one.
Right.
You know, it makes Schindler's List look like Porky's 2. It really does. It's the saddest thing I have ever seen in my life, and it still gets me. You know.
You know what else is a real tearjerker is he's just not that into you. You might want to rent that.
Yeah, if you paid $14 to get in to see it.
Yeah,
bawling your eyes like a baby.
Do a few monologues from that. But yeah, that was fun. A Brian Song,
Absolutely.
Classic. If you're a young person out there who hasn't seen it, check out Brian Song.
And not the remake. They did a remake. Remember?
Remakes are just destroying movies. They're just they remade the Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
When they remade the Bad News Bears, I felt like sitting in the lobby of the theater with a huge screen with the old one on. And as people were walking out, I just felt like showing them the old one and going, "Listen, this is the movie." It just kills me.
I knew the remake to Brian's Song was going to suck because they replaced, you know who played Brian Piccolo in the remake? Nathan Lane.
I was going to say,
the casting was horrendous.
I didn't know they remade that.
Jack Kincannon was played by, what's her name? Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah,
somebody funny. They're
remaking every great movie and
ruining them.
Absolutely.
And there's no need to remake things like that, like The Longest. Adam Sandler, who I like, but there was no need to do The Longest Yard again.
The Longest Yard is a classic. Sandler made a funny movie, but The Longest Yard is just that's one of those like 70s movies that's almost like a religion, and Steve Martin remaking the Pink Panther.
Anything he does is garbage. Seriously. We should. I hope Colin Quinn's listening. Quinn, if you're listening, Colin Quinn, if you're listening, please call in and give us your take on Steve Martin movies. He'll call me at home. He'll do this to me. It'll be 1 a.m. He'll go, hey, put on Cinemax. They're showing the Bill Hicks documentary.
Right.
So I'll switch over from a game I'm watching, and it'll be like, what's that Steve Martin thing? Baker's Dozen. What was the one with the family?
Cheaper by the Dozen.
Cheaper by the Dozen. That's the one that Colin Quinn's obsessed with. Right. He plays it on a loop. and that and Billy Crystal movies. And if you hear him rant about those... Yeah. This is how he says about Billy. I go, Colin, what do you think of Billy Crystal? He goes, he's a dentist from New Jersey who got lucky. That's how he sums up his.
No, but you're talking about two talented guys who just completely just.
Steve Martin is talented.
Who just sold out. Just said, screw it. I'm going to remake just everything. I mean, then the Pink Panther 2. It's like how much you need, man.
Let's go to Terry in New Jersey, who's been hanging on the line for a while here.
Hey,
Terry,
what's up, guys? What's up?
What's going on? What's on your mind?
I've seen you guys both your shows, both your comedy shows. You're both awesome. Both of you guys know your sports. I'm going to listen to the show pretty much every night that I can. I got a almost 2-year-old, so I don't know if it'll be every night, but I'm going to try.
Get your priorities straight. The hell with the kid.
Do like Mark Kriegel. Just make the kid some ravioli.
Go ahead. What was that?
No, I just said be like Mark Kriegel. Make the kid some ravioli and broccoli rabe will be fine.
And just put some duct tape to the wall and keep them up there?
Either that or you put Xanax in there, broccoli rabe.
There we go. I can be the next Casey Anthony.
We're kidding, of course.
Of course. I'm just wondering
what's on your mind?
About the Browns, Colt McCoy as a quarterback, and if we got any receivers, any kind of chance this year.
I loved Colt McCoy when he was at Texas. I haven't seen enough of him, but I know he stepped into the NFL and has shown some mettle here and there. I don't know. What do you got for a receiver core? Yeah, he's gone, so I'm going to have to... I don't know who Cleveland has for receivers. Artie, I know you follow the dog. You're part of the dog pound, weren't you?
Colt McCoy was good in college, but again, I don't know what he's been doing in the pros, that's for sure.
Well, I remember him doing he was fighting a couple of years ago with Brady Quinn for the starting job, who's long since gone. And let's just admit it, we don't follow the Browns. So why'd you ask us that? Call him back. I want to yell at him.
That's one of those questions I just don't know. And quite frankly, I don't care.
Cleveland's, what are they, 2-2, maybe? 1-3? I don't know. Come on. Who likes a team with a brown uniform? What is it, UPS going out for a pass? Please. The air conditioner's off. They shut it off in here, by the way, about an hour ago. It was 72 an hour. It's now up to 78. And every radio job I've had, which is 2, but what's the deal? Is there somebody punking us? Look at you, Artie. You're dripping. There's heavy cream on your forehead. I
have abs now. I lost weight.
It's unbelievable.
I speaking of losing weight, one of my favorite stories here is there's this guy in the Astros, Jordan Schaefer.
Yeah.
Who got arrested with 25 grams of marijuana.
Is that a lot, Artie?
It's enough. But it's just possession. It's not enough for possession with intent, which is a much bigger felony. I'll get into that later. But the funny part about it to me was he got arrested with a bunch of weed at a cheesecake factory, which is just, to me, I brought this up because I want to talk about the Cheesecake Factory's menu.
Well, for road comics.
Oh, God.
Like chefs, like real chefs will laugh at us for saying the food's good because it's a chain. So to me, it's the best, as far as food goes, as chains go.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Like they make fettuccine Alfredo there, and they bring it to you in like a spackle bucket.
Yeah.
And I mean, they bring you a spackle bucket of fettuccine Alfredo, and I love getting like a large fountain Coke with a lot of ice in it, and like dunking bread into the fettuccine Alfredo, and that's where you eat it on the road. Like I remember in Columbus, Ohio, I went to the Cheesecake Factory 5 days in a row.
I had to cancel the first show in Sacramento because they had the lemon chicken. It was about 71 pounds of garlic and it was so delicious. But the menu is literally, it's like the Bible.
Yeah, it looks like the Iliad. It really does. You go, where are you getting all this stuff from? Like, where is all this food? How many chefs are you employing?
Yeah.
And if Jordan Schaefer is going to smoke weed, and, he just had it on him, I don't know if he planned on smoking it.
Yeah.
What better place to do it but at a Cheesecake Factory? Because afterwards,
they ought to hand you a joint on the way in.
Oh my God!
You're going to finish that piece of cake. I mean,
you're right. It's bad though on the road to go to the Cheesecake Factory before a gig because there's nothing worse than bombing while you're bloated at the Funny Bone in Columbus, Ohio.
I've done it. I got a 4-pound lobster in Cape Cod when I first started comedy.
Right.
A baked stuffed lobster, 4 pounds.
Right.
I finished it about 20 minutes before showtime.
Yeah.
I go on, first 2 jokes, I'm burping. I couldn't get to the punchline, just dying. and I could smell the garlic in my own face and stuff. And, it was just, that's where I learned my lesson,
Yeah.
2-pound lobster.
I love it. I love the size of the portions at the Cheesecake Factory. I brought this story up because I just wanted to say that the Cheesecake Factory is a place you should visit. And Jordan Schaefer with the weed, calm down, buddy. You're a role model, remember?
It's Nick and Artie, 800-546-7663. We're going to talk about a girl in high school who kicked a field goal to win the game and why I think it's rotten. And Artie agrees. We'll be back.
Guys who are in touch with their feminine sides. That is, if feminine sides are covered in hair. The Nick and Artie Show.
The Nick and Artie Show. 800-546-7663 is the number. And got to guess this segment. Eric Pincus writes for hoopsworld.com. He's going to explain to us some details of the NBA lockout. Artie's more interested because he's a Hoops fan.
I'm a big NBA fan. I am. I'm a big basketball fan. And I know today the preseason was officially canceled.
Oh, no.
So, You're not going to get a chance to see that preseason Nets-Bucks game you were looking forward to, Nick.
Oh, my TiVo's just going to get dust on it.
Those were the worst games to gamble on, were preseason basketball games, because they would just put in the garbage players too early.
You would gamble on a preseason hoops game?
Nick, I gambled on everything. Look where it got me. An unair-conditioned studio somewhere on 6th Avenue.
That was a big minute. We figured it out. We had the heat on.
Yeah.
Here we are yelling at the engineers.
But Eric Pincus is here. We welcome Eric from hoopsworld.com. How you doing, Eric?
Eric?
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on.
All right.
What's up?
You got me?
Hey, so yeah. So how you doing?
Doing great. Great, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on.
So basically, okay, so the preseason is canceled. That's official, right?
That is official, and I don't think anyone's going to cry about that. I know the Lakers, I think they play in Bakersfield, and that maybe the Bakersfield people will be upset, but I think other than that, we're good.
Right. Now, so when is D-Day now? Now, what's happening? When did Stern say, the commissioner, David Stern, when did he say how much time do they have before they cancel the regular season?
Well, they have until Monday. He's saying that if there's no deal by Monday, then they're going to lose 2 weeks of the season. So it's not like if there's no deal, there's suddenly no season. It's going to be an incremental thing. They can't come up with a deal to lose 10 games. They've got 60-game plan. They have to have at least 50 games. That's kind of like your deadline, which is what they did in 1999. So I still think in that window to Monday that there's an opportunity for both sides to make a deal. I really don't think they're that far off. I mean, they may be $100 million off, which, hey, $100 million sounds like a huge number, but we're talking about a $4 billion business, at least yearly. So $100 million shouldn't be in the way of what's going to get lost if they lose some games. So I'm hopeful. I'm cautiously optimistic, but there's certainly a window for this thing to go to pot.
But talk a little bit about what it's about, because I know, like fans, especially me, I mean, I really don't understand what the whole thing is about. Like, try to explain what the argument is, if you can.
All right. Well, there's all these little arguments that don't mean anything, like hard cap and who cares what else. Really, it's about one thing. It's about a big pot of money and who gets how much out of it. And we're talking, let's just say $4 billion a year. The players in the last deal got 57%, and the owners right now are trying to get as much of that as they possibly can, which is, makes sense. That's what negotiation is. So you got to drag it out to the last minute. Everyone's got to hide their cards until it's finally time where you get to the river and you show your cards and you see who comes out on top. So we're just dealing with a numbers game. I think the players are at about 53, near to 52%. That's coming down from 57. The owners, they wanted the players to make about 46%. They've come up to about 50, give or take. And so we're really 1 or 2 percentage points off. And I feel in my gut that that's not enough to cancel the season. I feel like they're almost there. But it's that little extra step that could just, the whole thing could come crumbling down.
The players get a bigger piece of pie than the owners?
Yeah, in basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, 57.
How the hell does that work in America?
I mean, listen.
The workers are making more than the CEOs.
I'll tell you why, because Derek Fisher of the Lakers is the head of the union, and he knows what he's doing, that guy.
I guess.
He must have some sort of law degree or something. Derek Fisher is, in fact, right, he's the players' union head representative, right?
Right, he's the president of the union. But the gains, that 57% mark, I mean, we're talking about things that were negotiated, in the last couple of deals. I mean, dating back even to 1999 when you had a big battle with Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing and all those guys. That's really when the precedent was set. And it was really a star-based league, a star-generated league. And so I don't think Derek Fisher's right now just trying to hold on as hard as he can to that 57%, and they've already come down to 54. So, I mean, a 50-50 split sounds nice. If they got to about 51 for the players, maybe 52, 51 and a half, I think you're going to have a deal.
Right. So you sound optimistic that there's going to be a season, because on a lot of articles I read, they're not.
I'm not optimistic there'll be 82. I still think there's a real chance, and I don't think this season will be canceled. I just don't. It could be reduced. It could be delayed. To lose 82 games, I know that one of the things the owners would like to see is, can these players really handle the squeeze once they start missing paychecks? I mean, what has been lost at this point is absolutely nothing. Players don't miss paychecks till about November 15th. And it's, other than Bakersfield losing preseason games, I mean, nothing's lost. So there is no pressure. Well, now they're at a pressure point now because they have to make these things, make it a deal or not before this season at least loses a week or two. Once you start losing games, you lose revenue, and that's money that they can't get back, owners or players.
I'd hate to see LeBron James miss a couple of paychecks. He'll have to go work for a landscaping company or something. But some of the NBA players have already signed deals to play overseas. Can we see more of that or what?
Absolutely. I mean, most of the deals that are signed have outs. If the lockout's over, they go back home. There's a few players. Oddly, 3 Denver Nuggets signed in China. And the Chinese league, they're not letting players go back to the NBA, so they're committed. So I don't know why. I guess Denver isn't your hot spot. I guess the guys in Denver want out, so they'd rather go play in China. Kenyon Martin and J.R. Smith and Wilson Chandler, those guys are gone. So they're gone for the year. But most guys, like if Kobe Bryant goes and plays in Italy, which is in discussion, the moment the lockout's over, he comes back home, and that's that. So there's no real major loss. I mean, is the NBA going to continue or is it going to stop because Kenyon Martin went to China? I mean, come on. No big star is gone. No, the threat of, we'll go play somewhere else, that's no threat. It just isn't. And there's no league out there that has the kind of money that these guys are getting in the NBA. And maybe one guy might get a big paycheck. And sure, Darren Williams is playing in Turkey. But he's got an NBA out, and it's good money, but there's like 1 or 2, 3 maybe spots, Kobe, a couple other guys who might be able to go. But by and large, there's 400 players, 390 of them are either going to stay in the NBA or get paid. I mean, a couple of guys like Kenyon Martin are going to go. It's just not, there is no threat to go play somewhere else, not one that's going to bother these owners.
We're talking to Eric Pincus, hoopsworld.com. And the NBA had an abbreviated season, didn't they, a few years ago? Or am I dreaming?
I don't think
1999.
so.
1999 had a 50-game season. It was the year the Spurs won, right before the Lakers had their three-peat run.
That's right. That's right. That was Spurs-Knicks in the finals. That's why. That's probably why the Knicks made it, because it was an abbreviated season. I don't know. I just from what you're saying, it sounds so minuscule, like 3%, 4%. It just has got to aggravate the average fan, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about millionaires fighting against billionaires. I mean, it just doesn't really appeal. I mean, okay, you've got your hardcore fans who are going to be diehard NBA fans, but your average person goes to a couple games a year, watches on the ABC games and maybe some highlights on ESPN and all that. They're going to get turned off, and there's plenty to do in this world. You don't have to go watch basketball. I mean, there's no reason for this league to lose all the momentum that they've gained over $100 million, which I mean, come on, $100 million to me and you, different to these guys. $4 billion, it's just not enough. I mean, I feel like they're so close. They've got to make a deal. There's no reason not to. There's so many people who are involved who are going to get hurt, from the guys who work in the red coats, the guys who are the security guards. I mean, what about the ticket scalpers?
Right.
The guys selling tickets illegally on the street. These guys don't make much money. Come on. I mean, let's do it for them. I mean, how about the sports writers like me? I'm saying it's like, it's ridiculous. But all that aside, I mean, there's so many sponsors and all the corporate, Kia, Blake Griffin jumping over Kia. I mean, all that stuff. It's a jeopardy, and there's so much money involved, even beyond this $4 billion, that they've got enough reason to make a deal. And it's so theatrical, and everyone's a big baby and saying, blah, blah, blah. No talks are scheduled, and, maybe we'll talk again in a month. I mean, come on. Just get a deal done. You've got like 3 or 4 days. You can knock this thing out. Put me in a room with these guys, and in 2 hours we'd be done.
I'll tell you, a little word to the wise, those Denver Nuggets guys going to China. If China says you can't leave, they usually mean it. I'd be careful over there. That's not a good move. I would stick. Well, listen, it seems like the country is not as into this as they were with the NFL lockout. And that's interesting to me. Hopefully what you're saying is true, and basketball fans like myself will be able to see the season. I mean, I love going to Knick games and sitting next to Woody Allen and Soon Yi and watching that dynamic. But I appreciate you educating us on all this, Eric.
Thank you so much, Eric. We appreciate it. Apparently he left us.
He went overseas.
It's Nick and Artie, folks. And we'll be back right after these messages.
And Artie, they put the sport in sports. The Nick and Artie Show.
Here you go, Artie.
Now we're turning it up.
You like that, don't you?
I do.
Nick and Artie Show, 800-546-7663. Welcome back. Where are we? Top of the final hour? I don't even know. I've had so much fun.
Yeah.
No. Second hour still. All right. I'm not having that much fun.
End of the second hour.
It's dragging, man.
The heat's getting to you.
Well, yeah, I've watched the temperature go from 72. It's up to 79 now.
Yeah.
Artie weighs 140. I'm down about a 111. I mean, seriously, get your crap together, people who build studios for radio shows. Even Howard used to complain. Remember?
Well, you got to keep a studio cold, and I think our attitudes are doing that.
Let's give an update for people, the baseball. This is a sports talk radio. It is
You really
October.
want an update, Nick?
I do.
You do.
How'd the Yankees do?
The Yankees won, I believe, 10-1.
Nail-biter.
We got a Game 5 at Yankee Stadium, and
Arizona just blew it open, huh?
Arizona's winning
8-1.
They seem to be.
That's going to cost me a dime.
Was that 8-1?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah, so the Brewers are ahead 2-0 in that. It's going to be 2-1. But they were just interviewing Curtis Granderson because I guess he was like the hero of the game.
I actually call that, too.
The Grandy man.
Yeah.
And he was wearing one of the, those necklaces that these baseball players wear now?
They're like rope or hemp?
Like rope. Each team has it in their own colors.
Yeah.
And they wear it around their neck.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're at like some sort of gay rave or something.
Now, there's nothing wrong with that.
There isn't, but
the rave, I mean.
I don't know what is that about.
It's about it's the same thing as Lance Armstrong with his yellow wristbands. It means you give back to the community. I don't know.
Oh, is it a charity thing?
No,
no, it's not.
Just I don't know what that is.
It looks weird to me. I don't know, but like almost every other player wears them.
There's certain like bracelets that are supposed to have a positive health effect on your.
Oh, I got to get one of them.
You got. One on your ankles, and I don't know what it is personally. It looks uncomfortable though. And I would think you're on the mound. It's 80 degrees. Thing would start chafing.
Yeah. I don't like it at all, quite frankly. But most important thing, Yanks win 10-1, and they are coming back to Yankee Stadium. So, and A.J. Burnett only gave up one run. I don't know if he finished the game. But he had an awful first inning and settled down, as Nick predicted he would.
And they're coming. I did right after Grandis made that catch. I said that could have a positive effect on him.
Yeah,
and it kind of did. And they're coming back to Yankee Stadium, which means they can all go to Banana Republic. Get a nice T-shirt. Walk, walk, walk. How about this young lady in Michigan, high school in Michigan? She kicked a winning field goal, 31-yarder.
Right.
And apparently, I'm happy for her, but and here comes my chauvinist side.
Right.
Where's she going? She going to go to the pros? No, she's not.
Well,
There's a girl who kicked one in college, though, right? Last year there was a girl who kicked one.
Are you saying no one's going to sign her? Is that what you're saying?
Right out of high school. I'm just saying. And then, I'm just saying.
What are you saying?
No woman is ever going to play in the NFL. I just said it. Ever.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay, well,
including her.
First of all, that's not true. I can name several 70s Giants quarterbacks who I believe were women. Joe Pisarcik, I think, might have. But
I'm happy for her. I am.
You're happy for her, but you're trying to make a bigger point here.
Yes,
I think
because some kid probably could be some boy who's just as capable of being the kicker.
Oh, so you're saying they did it because she's it was almost like affirmative action.
I don't believe she's the only one on the campus that could capable of kicking a 31-yard.
31-yarder, I'll tell you.
Under pressure. She played soccer, so I do like this. And I'm not even saying...
I think the Bills wish they had her in 1991.
That's right. No wide right here.
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell is that?
That's Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band.
Why? Are we that close? Oh, that was quite a segment. Just disparaged a woman and we're out. No, I'm happy for her. And we're going to talk about this because I got a lot more to say, but and so did you before when I brought it up.
No, I'm happy for her, but I know what you're saying.
They gave her Queen of the Prom at halftime. So this high school program really takes its football serious. She was Queen of the Prom or some stuff.
Homecoming Queen.
Homecoming Queen. Queen of the Prom. What am I, 79?
Yeah.
Queen of the Prom, and she kicked the field goal. Shut up, baloney. All right, we'll talk more about this. And you women chime in, 800-546-7063. It's Nick and Artie.
And now, live from America's Man Cave.
It's a cold, realistic world.
It's the Nick and Artie Show.
Good time for a little eruption. Brings me back to sophomore year in high school.
Oh, yeah.
In the back of a car. By myself.
You had a car?
I had a car.
I remember the first car I ever bought, and I waited for change from the guy.
That's right. You told me that. What was it?
It was an AMC Matador.
Oh.
1974. It had a 305 V8 in it.
It's a broad magnet.
The thing moved. Oh, yeah. It's like a Ford Edge. And it was $360 the car. I gave the guy $400, and I had to wait for him to bring back $40. You know, and the gas tank, like the gauge just moved wherever the car moved because it was broken. So if you wanted a full tank of gas, you just had to make a sharp right. That's what eruption brings me back to, though. The good old days.
I had a silver Caddy. My dad's like 72 Caddy. Black leather interior. We called it the Gray Ghost.
Really?
Oh, you could have 22 people in the back seat. You could hit fungos. It was so big. You had a flat tire. You had to hitchhike to the trunk to get the spare.
This kid I know.
Zing.
This kid I know had an enormous Buick Electra. One of those enormous cars that was just like a tank.
Like a Delta 88.
And he was driving it drunk, which is not an advisable thing to do. This kid, was not a great guy.
Right.
And he decided he wanted to try to drive the car. He's driving down a main drag on like a Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And he's drunk and he was smoking weed. He starts to try to drive the car with his head because he thought it'd be funny, like to drive the car with his head. So he's laughing This other kid I know was in the passenger seat, and he was messed up, and he's laughing. He goes, you're driving the car with your head. You're driving. So he goes, I'm driving the car with my head. He did it a little too long, okay? And it's a true story. He somehow wriggled his head into the wheel. Like, it got caught in between, like, the horn and the top of the wheel. And now he's drunk and he's on weed and he's stuck in the wheel of the steering wheel of a moving car. So he starts to freak out and he drives through a bakery window. Now, nobody got hurt, thank God. But when the cops got there, they wanted to give him his sobriety test before he got out of the wheel because they were afraid he'd lose his buzz or something. So while they're cutting him out of the wheel, the cop says to him, "Do you know your ABCs?" And he's just like, "Yeah." And he just goes, "Say them." He goes, A, B, C. Just arrest me, man. Just arrest me.
I love the fact you're going to give a guy a sobriety test, his head stuck in the wheel. Yeah, I wonder if this guy's drinking. Let me see.
Same kid. Was it him or a different kid? No, I think it was the same kid. He went to a department store in my hometown and stole a canoe. He somehow got away with stealing a canoe. And if you think about
in a department store?
Yeah,
like Macy's?
There was a department store in my town called Two Guys. They sold everything. And he went in there.
Two Guys.
And yeah, he went in there and he went to I guess the camping department.
Right.
And he just took a canoe off the wall and put it on his head and just walked out the door. And no one stopped him because who would steal a canoe? They figured he paid for it, So nobody stops the kid. The next day, he gets caught trying to steal the oars. He didn't have the oars for the canoe.
Boy, that took some detective work, huh?
Well, the security guy catches him with the oars, and they say to him, "You didn't happen to take the canoe yesterday, did you? Because we're missing a canoe." And he just goes, Yeah, you got me, man.
No, I'm mixing up a batch of beer in my tub. I need a canoe. Or, you know what? This is creeping me out. You know how I do True TV,
right.
World's Dumbest Criminals?
Right.
There's one where a kid gets busted carrying a canoe.
You're kidding me.
No. You think it's him?
I'm
serious.
Maybe they have video of it. We're talking,
How long ago?
1979, maybe.
Oh, no. True TV's cheap with the clips, but I don't think they go back to 79.
Was the kid wearing a Blue Oyster Cult T-shirt? Yeah,
that's a good high school story.
Yeah, the canoe thing always used to make me laugh.
Who steals a canoe?
See, that's why
from Maine.
That's why I'm not people ask me why I'm not on Facebook, and it's because I don't want that kid getting in touch with me. I don't know I don't want to know what that kid's doing right now.
You don't want him to update his status?
Yeah,
going back for second or at MVP Sports. Real genius. That's the other thing. You and I, I'm not completely illiterate as far as technology or computers. You know?
You're better than me.
But it's just the Facebook thing. I just, status update. Really? Talk about an arrogant generation.
Oh.
You think anybody gives a crap what you're doing at 7:30 on a Wednesday night? I understand, if you were a brain surgeon, you could put on your wall, just save the 12-year-old girl's life. Right. Or you're an astronaut, just landed the last space shuttle. But you're the night managers at Papa John's.
Right.
We know what you're doing. You're living in your parents' basement, making minimum wage, and looking at People magazine with your pants down at 3 in the morning.
Or it's the
you can't afford cable, you chooch.
Or it's the girls who tweet stuff. You're right. This entire generation is going to think they're so interesting when they're not. Only interesting people should have followers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like Jesus had followers.
Yes.
And Jesus was an interesting guy.
Right.
Son of God, walked on water. I would see him having a lot of followers on Twitter or friends on Facebook. But, Ashley, who's the receptionist at the tanning salon in
Nutley. Nutley. I got that from The Sopranos. 800-546-7663. Do you have an opinion on this, folks? Come on.
Yeah,
chime in.
And how is anyone...
Pick up your cell phone. They don't cause cancer. Go ahead, pick it up.
How is anyone a criminal anymore?
Criminal? Really? You can't cheat on your girlfriend? Or
you have to be discreet.
I mean, what?
How many friends would Al Capone have had on Facebook? Do you think? I mean, it's or just beat a guy to death with a baseball bat. I got to get this up on Twitter.
I just put a guy through a wall, and I have to write it on the wall. That's the thing. The other thing, cyberbullying's an epidemic. I go, really? I'd rather be bullied over the internet than in person like I was back in the 70s. I'd rather have somebody write something mean on my wall than put me through a wall.
Yeah, exactly.
What's this? Is this a caller? It says unknown, and it's blinking. Is there anybody there? Hello? Just kidding. Yeah, I'm trying and slow down with the cell phone technology. I know a little bit about it because my web guy makes me... I got into Twitter for about 5 minutes.
You're tweeting stuff?
I tweeted a little bit, And then some 16-year-old kid said, "That's so stupid. What are you, an idiot?" And I go, "You're 16."
Yeah. I want to.
And he goes, "Yeah, you're 58. What are you doing?"
There's a whole thing in show business now, though, where like comedians are getting paid to
write tweets
for people.
Those are called weak middles, Artie.
Yeah, well, I actually got a call from my agent. They said she didn't call, but I'm just using this as an example. Like, say Kim Kardashian wanted you to write tweets for her. You know,
I might
do that. I might do that, but the thing is, I wouldn't change them. I would write them as if it was me, and see how long she liked it. You might just.
What would it say?
It would say like, "You're at Kim Kardashian. I just paid a hooker to shave my back."
Finishing my second cheesesteak.
"You're at Kim Kardashian, and I'm in the shower, and I can't see my feet."
That's right.
"You're at Kim Kardashian. I just crapped my pants on the C train."
The best part for the internet, my favorite part, is going to the political articles.
Right.
Reading, the article, and then going down and reading the comments. Boy, that's a civil conversation, huh? Somebody will say, like, Obama's just a big spending liberal. He's never held a job in the private sector. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's in over his head. Somebody will respond, "Well, that's not true. George Bush messed up the economy, left him 2 wars. And then the next one will be, mother's a silverback ape who's just a fat pig with 3 eyes in the back of her neck." You know? It goes from 0 to 60 in about a second. And
or dating websites like Match.com. Like, you can view your matches for free. Like, look at me. I don't want to see my matches. I want to see someone who's the polar opposite of me. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see my matches. How much is it for free? I could see someone who matches me. Like, I want to see a broad who looks like me.
Yeah, you're going to find your soulmate is like a lesbian who's a point guard at North Carolina State, 6'2", 240, has the same likes as you.
And they ask you questions on a profile that you could, like, there's no way I could ever be honest and get a date. Like, one of the websites that said, "What's the worst thing you've ever done?" And, like, I'm going to get a lot of dates if I'm honest about that question. What's the worst thing I've ever done? Let's see. One time I kidnapped a baby and traded it for angel dust. What are you doing Friday night? Want to go to the Red Lobster?
Put on a bib. Hey, Tommy from Arkansas wants to get back to sports. How dare he? Let's go to Tommy. Tommy boy.
How's it going,
Welcome
guys?
to the show. What's happening, Tommy?
Not much. Artie, good to hear you back on the radio.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Tommy.
I'm actually originally from Jersey, so we got something in common there, Artie.
Cool.
I was just going to give you the line on AJ tonight. He went 5 1/3, walked 4, struck out 3, 81 pitches. I mean, you can't really ask much more from the guy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, he that first inning, though, man, I was scared as hell because he was wild.
I was, too. Curtis made some great catches tonight, just so you know. Not only in the first, but in the 6th, he almost knocked himself out.
He's the MVP, man. He's the MVP.
No question about it.
No
question about it.
They already voted on that, did they not, Artie? Did they already vote on that?
No, not yet. We don't.
Are you sure?
We don't have MVPs yet. No. I don't think so.
I heard somebody say that in the last game that's already voted on. They know who it is. They just haven't announced it.
Oh,
for the league.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
is that correct, Dan?
They haven't announced it.
Dan lived with Artie, and
our producer knows. No, I mean what you're saying. They haven't announced it yet.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm sure they voted.
I wanted to ask Tommy, who's from Jersey, what's he doing down in Arkansas? Buying an engine block? I'm only kidding. It's a beautiful country.
Would he join the Klan and move to Arkansas?
That's mean-spirited. Oh, listen to that. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Last night it was a little heavy for me. A little bit of this tells you how old I am. My late 70s. I remember this song.
This late 70s? Dude, this is 1963.
I'm talking about me being in my late 70s. Right. Come on, Artie, will you? Early 60s.
I'm sorry, I've had a couple of lewds.
Well, let's scare the DirecTV guys. Artie, wake up! Artie, wake up! It's the Nick and Artie Show. We're in our final hour, folks. 800-546-7663. We're going to talk about the NFL, the Raiders coaches all of a sudden banging his chest like Rex Ryan.
Yeah.
And there's too much of that going on in a very mediocre league. We'll talk about that next.
Hey, if you want to talk X's and O's, go play tic-tac-toe. This is Nick and Artie.
Welcome back. Nick and Artie. Air conditioning's back on. Breathing some life into us. Steve's got his hood on. It's down to 70. Okay, went from 79 to 70. Now we have dead penguins on the floor with cold sores on the lip.
Yeah, that's a little quick.
It's nice though.
Yeah, it
Feel
feels
like some
good.
type of experiment, like we're astronauts. Sleep deprivation. Artie, you're going to tell me why you want the NBA season to happen.
Well, just because I think basketball, and again, is I think it's just a beautiful game to watch. I really do, and I know you're gonna. You might think I'm.
It is.
I'm being a little like
the interruptions.
What interruptions?
Oh, you got to be kidding me. How about a whistle every 3 seconds?
There's not a whistle every 3 seconds.
Okay, every 7. Seriously. No, I can make an argument here. Artie, the guys are 7 foot on the court.
Right.
They haven't expanded that court since the game was founded.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
All right.
Every time two guys go for a loose ball, there's a whistle. Every time two guys go up for a rebound, there's a whistle. It turns into, and then I have to watch them swap baskets for 2 hours before anything meaningful happens. They are unbelievably graceful athletes.
You got it. Here's what you got it. One time, I had this agent who actually got me in those seats where, like, Spike Lee sits, like those seats that are
I've sat down,
right on the. I mean, right on the court.
I know who got them for you, too.
You gotta,
Susie Essman.
Yeah, Susie. Yeah, somebody dropped out, and I sat and I watched the game, and it was actually about 6 or 7 years ago, and it was the Cavaliers and the Knicks, and I'm sitting in that very front row, and I got to watch these guys, and LeBron James was on the Cavaliers, and I'm sitting right next to Jay-Z, and Jay-Z had a kid with him. The kid was about 10 years old.
Another reason I don't like basketball.
No, but it was fun. You know, we were right there. LeBron James and Jay-Z apparently are friends. And LeBron James is playing the whole game. He's playing an amazing game, and during the game, he's holding a conversation with Jay-Z, and they're talking in like hip hop talk, like yo boo, whatever, stuff like that, go back and forth, and it was.
And you like that?
No, it was just unbelievable to me to see somebody. He was talking to the kid. The kid looked excited. I don't know if it was Jay-Z's son or some kid he knows somehow, but it was him and Jay-Z were holding a conversation while LeBron James was playing against the Knicks and playing an amazing game. And when you sit in those seats, you get to leave in a special elevator.
Yeah.
And
it's called freight.
Yeah. Well, you get to leave in a special elevator. And in the elevator, this was the elevator ride. It was about 10 people who I didn't know. Woody Allen and Sun Yi.
A crate of grapes,
and David Duchovny.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's who's in the people I was with. So I get caught in the corner, like literally an inch from Woody Allen and Sun Yi, but facing them. Like I couldn't turn around, and I'm telling you, they had the most miserable looks on their faces. I was thinking, like, what's the small talk I could possibly make with them? And they just were looking at me like, we're caught in here.
Don't talk to us.
I look like a plumber, you know. They're like, we're caught in here with this guy. And it really looked like, it looked like an old Jewish guy hired an Asian hooker to come with him to the game.
Enough about Bill Maher.
Nothing about them looked happy. I just wanted to say, I almost wanted to give them some counseling in the elevator. Like, is everything all right? And right behind me is David Duchovny, which was odd.
Oh, a sex addict.
And 10 people who I didn't know. But the elevator got hot, and like I was sweating. Woody Allen was sweating. I don't know if Duchovny was sweating, but. I don't know. Sunyi looked like she was being held captive or something.
She was by her dad. That's what's even grosser.
I mean, I'm a fan of Woody Allen, but that whole marrying her.
What did he say to you?
Well, he didn't say anything. He was pretending I wasn't there.
If this thing jams up, you can you can get it going again, right? The elevator. You do work for the garden, don't you?
No, I think he really thought I was a maintenance guy. And
this is why you want the NBA to come back. I would too if I'm hanging out with Woody Allen and Jay-Z. And I understand.
What I'm saying is, sitting in those seats, and you really get to watch these athletes play. It's almost like someone who appreciates ballet or something. Sure. I don't know, and watching. But your point is because players have gotten bigger, they should make the court bigger?
I'm not the first one to say that. A lot of experts have said that.
Name one expert who said that.
What are you talking? Dave Cowens.
Dave Cowens.
Yes.
Oh, sure, throw that up in my face.
No, it's been brought up. I mean, I've read it in articles. Sport columnists have talked about it.
And what about you? Do you think they should make the rim higher?
Yes, I do.
Well, how high?
A little bit. Where a dunk is a challenge. Okay, now you got guys who are playing. They're over 7 foot. 7'1".
Not everybody's 7'1".
Oh, okay. 6'9".
All right,
and that's small actually for a forward.
Yeah.
6'9". You're 6'9". You put your arms up. There's another. What are their wingspan? Their arms are what? 4 feet long.
Yeah.
Then they jump a vertical leap of what? 36, 40 inches. So now you're 3 feet over the basket. It's not how the game was meant to be played. It was 2 peach crates.
Yeah,
and a couple of white guys in shorts. I love watching dunks. I'm just saying, nobody watches the dunk channel. What do they call the slam dunk competition? People are getting bored with it now. They are getting bored with it.
You know why? Because
Chris Berman said so.
A lot of the superstars don't participate anymore. Like when Dominique Wilkins used to do it, Jordan every year, like Spud Webb that one year. But people who say they want to make the rim higher or the court bigger,
a little bit.
A little bit. Like so, what? 12 feet? Is that what you want?
Yeah. So they can really a dunk is a challenge. What's so hard of a concept to grab about that? It was designed as a shooting game to begin with.
Right.
Now it's guerrilla acting. They're tearing down rims and breaking back, which is fun to watch once in a while, but it was actually a game of finesse and shooting. So I like to see that, yes. I'm not thrilled when a guy breaks in on a breakaway with no defense and slams it home. Ooh, quite a feat.
No, I see. I find it almost like just watching like artists at work. To me, I love it. I love it, and it's entertaining to watch. You know.
I'm just saying, I'd like to see an artist who, I don't know, blindfold them and give them an easel. Make it. The other thing is, I got a big problem with basketball games at the end. Did we talk about this on the air?
Yeah. Well, okay. about
way too many whistles. I know it's designed, like you said, TV timeouts and commercial,
right.
But there's way too many. At the end of a game, when it should be spontaneous and going back and forth, there's a whistle every 3 seconds. The team's down by a couple buckets, so they have to foul. There should be spontaneity there. It should be exciting. I understand why. I know why they do it because that's the rules. I understand that.
Like, what's the option though? What's the option? Like, you want spontaneity? Like, don't.
No, not so many timeouts.
Oh.
How about that? Let's start there. And then they go to 10 minutes of commercials. It's hard to. The flow is broken up.
Right.
A little bit. I understand. You know what Quinn says? I have this conversation with Quinn. He goes, it's the sport that you grew up playing that you usually like. You know what I mean? I played pond hockey and a little bit in high school.
Right.
And but we played hoops. The field house is open on Friday night, so I loved hoops too. But he said if it's, most New York's obviously a big basketball.
Right, no, and I played all the time in Jersey. Yeah. We used to play, and
did you play hockey at all or no?
We played street hockey, but I don't know. I always liked basketball better, and it would aggravate me if there wasn't a season because I still love going to Knick games, even if I don't have those great seats. I still love going and watching them play.
Boy, let's talk about Martha Stewart peeing into somebody's broccoli rabe. I can't. Wasn't that the last one? So you want it back, and you're going to miss it, right?
Yeah, and college hoops.
March Madness even sucks me up. It's the best.
Yeah, that's not going anywhere. So college.
But I can't sit down in November on a Wednesday night. First of all, that game is grossly overexposed. That was in Sports Illustrated.
Right.
They televised 2,300 games last year or 2,500 college basketball games. Come on. What are you doing?
Right.
And but you can sit down like on a Wednesday night and watch North Carolina State slug it out.
I really can. I can
Louisville.
watch any college basketball
Which I can
game.
understand because I can do that with football, college football, you know.
I mean, I hate to say it, when I gambled, that was my favorite sport
College
to gamble
basketball?
on was college basketball. Yeah, because
Don't you get beaten garbage time more than most sports, or no?
believe it or not, there's guys who I knew who could really handicap college basketball, and they said it was
What were their names? Let me get my pen out.
It was the same construction guy who I tried to quit from. He knew some people, but I just think it would be a shame not to have a basketball season. I want it, and I disagree. It would be no fun. I want to see those athletes do what they do best, you know. And
well, no, that's make it rain at a strip club.
Well, that's fine too. Let them do it.
Well, that's cool too. We having a problem with that. It's Nick and Artie, folks. Coming up, the final segment. Stay with us. We still got plenty of steam here since the temperature went down to the core of the earth. We'll be back right after this.
And Artie, they put the sport in sports. The Nick and Artie Show.
Welcome back to the final segment of Night 2, the Nick and Artie Show. Temperature went from 79, what are we down, minus 11? Artie looks like Ted Williams over there. Crystals in his eyebrows, and I can see my breath like a Packers game in the 60s. We should review.
It's like the ice bowl.
It really is. You can see everybody's breath in here.
Like making a goal line stand.
Look at Tommy Carbone's hanging upside down in the corner.
Great Goodfellas reference. Thank you,
it was
Nick.
terrific. 3 people got it in New Jersey. We should review the Major League Baseball playoff scores.
Yeah, we should make sure everyone knows what's going on.
Yeah, we're going to make it look like we care about sports. But well,
you don't because the Red Sox are
I
out.
do.
I'm psyched because the first thing we should mention is the Yanks are going back to Yankee Stadium for Game 5. It's 2-2, and
they won 10-1.
They won 10-1 tonight. So
that's right. And Burnett, for you people who are haters, come on.
He had a good outing. He went 5 and a third. I think
they got him 10 runs. You could have won that.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people were giving him crap, including us, and he came out. He had a bad first inning. After that first inning, I'm telling you, I was really upset. And then Granderson made that catch.
That's right. That ball gets over his head. We get a differand ball game.
That ball gets over his head. I think
he would fall apart.
Yeah, I think Burnett
would melt down.
Apart. Yeah,
he really would.
But Granderson also, I'm watching, made another insanely great catch.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he just made a catch that looked like Ron Swoboda in the '69 series, diving and like fully extended. So Granderson was the hero of the game, supposedly.
So and he's the hero of the league, in my opinion. So that
you
series,
think Granderson should be the MVP? Yeah.
Every time I put him on this year, every time he was throwing somebody out at the plate, he was hitting a triple, 2 home. Every time I'm on the road, I'm up in Rochester. I remember thinking it back then, going, this guy is having the year of his life, and he never slowed down.
Yeah.
So that series locked it to Diamondbacks beat the Brewers tonight 8-1. It's 2-1 Brewers in that series. Phillies 3-2 over the Cardinals. Phillies up 2-1 in that series. And the Rangers going back to the ALCS for the second year in a row with a 4-3 victory over the Rays. And I feel no pain because of that after what they did to my Sox. I didn't know they were going to ruin the whole organization.
Well,
they fired 2 bat boys today. Some guy says Joe Namath is calling out the Jets. Mike in Brooklyn. Want to see what he's got to say?
Yeah.
Mike.
Hey, what's going on?
What's happening?
Nothing much.
Take your time, Mike.
No, I was wondering, you're going to talk about the Patriots Jets. I was wondering How do you feel about Namath calling out the Jets?
What did he say exactly, Mike?
He said for Holmes as a captain, to go outside to the media and start pointing fingers. I mean, he's right about the ball getting out late to him, and he's right about the offensive line.
What was the first part? I didn't hear the first part.
No, he's basically just calling out Rex, saying that he shouldn't be. He said, sorry, I'm just reading it. He said,
what are you doing? Building a model airplane? What are you calling?
He called out Rex. He called out Rex Ryan for what?
For bragging, being braggadocious.
Yeah,
being a windbag. We're not backing it up.
Yeah, well, he's got. Yeah, well, remember, Namath is the guy who in '69.
That's right.
Was sitting by the pool before the Super Bowl with the Colts and said, "Look, guys, we're going to win." You know, and then he guaranteed the win, and then he backed it up. So maybe.
So if that's right. Anybody has a right to.
And I think he's calling out the Jets that they got to do the same thing. But I don't know. I Jets, Patriots.
Good test for the Jets this weekend.
Absolutely.
And let me tell you something. The Patriots defense isn't exactly the Steelers of '75. They're kind of civish.
Yeah, well, this is a big weekend because if the Jets win, I think it turns it around for them a little bit.
It is.
Yeah.
And Rex Ryan admitted to that, to his credit, saying this is huge for us. Yeah. And the under-over is 102.
Yeah, exactly.
It should be. So this is going to be very interesting. And the Patriots, they get the best offense in the league, but their defense is mediocre at best. I mean, even in Oakland, they lucked out. Campbell drives them down and throws a ball right into Chung's hands in the end zone. And they're not showing me much as far as the pass rush goes. And Hainsworth, our big acquisition over the season, he didn't play because of his back. Who knows? I mean, this guy, you don't know what to believe. When he's on the field, he's definitely a force, but a little cuckoo. But we need him against the Jets.
But you're right. This may be a game where like 80 points are scored.
Yeah, and Welker will have 55 of them. Yeah, this guy is on a tear.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
It's amazing. And if people forget, he blew out his knee completely.
Right.
He wasn't himself last year. He came back. He had a decent year, but this year he's back to old form. And Brady can find him on every play, it seems like.
That play, that game when Brady threw for 500 yards, he Welker was involved with 300 of them, I think. He caught every other pass and was always running for a touchdown.
And he had a bigger game than that last week, 217 yards, or 2 weeks ago, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's putting up sick numbers.
Yeah, but without a defense, man, defense wins Super Bowls, brother. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I hear that. I can't remember who won last year. Can you? You're right. You got to have both. You got to have both because you're not going to win. It's not going to be 80-60 in the Super Bowl. But we got Will Fork. You ever see him returning?
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. Folks, that's about it for Nick and Artie tonight. We're going to be back here tomorrow night. Listen to it on nickandartie.com streaming live. And we had a blast. Hope to see you again.
Yeah, this was fun.